Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tyria then. This is episode 24. And one thing I realized while I was walking to the store today is that I almost never introduce myself on this show. I always say, welcome to Tyria now. This is episode whatever. With me as always is Miko. And by the way, I have a name, and it's Aaron.
Otherwise right now, known as Aaron.
Yeah. Right now, I'm on the second iteration for the purposes of the show, but yeah, that's just my name. So hello, everybody. Miko is here also.
Hello, everyone. Yes.
We're both slightly on the brink of insanity after the play session we've had this week for this episode.
Yeah.
Miko a little more so than me.
A little.
Yeah. How do you feel about the colors like navy blue and gray after your gameplay session this week?
I think that the navy blue just looks black.
Yeah.
Gray is looking a bit grayish brown. I'm petrified forests, stone, anything goth. I'm kind of like, yeah, you were interesting, and I'm a little done with you people.
It's like when you go to The Cure concert and you're not sure if you've been there for an hour or a week.
Yes. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, so Miko we got to the diverging point in the faction's plot in the story. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Miko went Kurzick. So she dived she did like a stage dive at the Marilyn Manson concert. And I'm sorry, the Kurzicks are too easy to goof on.
They are.
Their aesthetic is so it's so purposeful.
Goth.
Yeah, it's so focused.
Yes.
The Luxons are a little more abstract. I went the Luxon route. So I couldn't really call it seafaring because it's not a sea anymore.
No. But
there are sea creatures, so we'll call it seafaring. I did go on a boat technically, but I don't know if you could call it a boat because it's not sailing on the water. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Long show intro, but Miko, why don't you get us caught up on what happened in the story up to this point?
So in the previous episode, we went to try and recruit, or actually convince the Luxons and the Kurzicks to give us their cultural national treasures, which holds the spirits of their heroes. Saint Victor for the Kurzicks, we needed his urn that holds his ashes. And the Spear of Archimedes for the Luxons.
That is made out of his bones.
Which is made out of his bones, yes.
That's still awesome.
It really is. And the reason why we need them is because those are the two men in Canthan history who defeated Shiro Tagachi. And if we have their power, then taking out Shiro will be easier. So we did that. We went and met with the Goths of the Kurzick land in the Echovold Forest, and we met with a really cranky lady who has the hots for Menlo out in the Luxon world. What was her name again?
Mrs. Robinson, I believe, was her name. Elder Rhea is her name.
Elder Rhea, yes.
That was a joke for like the older members of our audience.
Yeah, that was a good one. Go watch that movie. It's a classic.
It exists. Yeah.
It exists, and it is a classic, and I've been told about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of we had to convocate, right?
Yes.
Sounds like a dirty word. I don't know if it is a word or not. There's a lot of when I'm a big word maker upper. It's like a thing that
inventor.
Yeah, I'm a big word inventor, and they're not always good. And sometimes I find out that they're already words. So that's what happens when you're a word inventor, but you also don't know a lot of words to begin with.
It's called being an English major. It's all right, Aaron.
Listen. There's a reason I never finished the degree.
I know, but you were one, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's not a rabbit hole we need to dive down on the Tyria Then discussion podcast.
That's okay.
What happened at the Luxon convocation?
what happened at the Luxon convocation is that we defeated the tribes and got to go and take out a giant squid, whose name I've already forgotten. Zoo.
Who has like in anime when they like do their like Sailor Moon when they do their transformation.
Yes,
Zuhanuku
like
Zuhanuku is
yes.
like a sailor like a Sailor Moon. I don't know what the ladies are called in that, but Zuhanuku is one of those.
Yeah, he kind of went all Voltron and put on his armor helmet.
He really did. It's probably my favorite cutscene so far in the game. At least visually, for voice acting purposes, anything featuring Shiro is my favorite cutscene.
Because it's so bad.
Yeah. I'm going to make you into my slave. Sorry, I'll never get over that line.
But we did discover in the last episode that the voice acting was improving, which made us quite happy.
Unremarkable voice acting for me.
Unremarkable this time as well.
Like nothing too bad. I didn't take any notes about it, so it must have been fine.
Yeah. I mean, we had Togo being Togo and Menlo being Menlo and kind of hamming. But anyways, we'll get there when we get there.
Togo's lines are a little goofy. Yeah.
They always are. So anyways, that's where we are. We have decided that we need to go and now after we defeated Zuhanuku, Menlo ran out to us and said, Shiro's on the move. Shiro's on the move. He's in the Undercity. He's in the sewers. So we have to go back to the sewers. And that's where we are starting.
Yeah, and Menlo tells us this, but we still spawn at an outpost and have an Imperial Herald also tell us this. Because the game has to direct us there with a quest.
Right.
We spawn in Zoshivros Channel at the end of the Boreas Seabed mission. This is another challenge mission that I am assuming neither of us did.
I did not.
It's not part of the show, guys. Challenge missions are not part of Tyria then.
Yeah. Maybe if we have to go and capture an elite. That's the only reason why I went into one.
Or like, well, because here's the thing. That is a good reason to go into one. And if there's a sweet elite that I want, I will brave a challenge mission for it.
Yeah.
In Nightfall and Eye of the North, the challenge missions get you cool armor for your heroes. But I think it's like a RNG drop, and I don't know if I want to farm. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm really excited about heroes.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
we gotta get through Shiro first.
We've only got like 4 missions left in this. So there's Sunjiang District, and then there's either the Luxon one or the Kurzick one, and then there's Unwaking Waters, and then Raizu Palace, and then the end of the game.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those mission titles spoil the story. I think it's just gibberish for anyone who doesn't know what's going to happen. But yeah, we're here in Zoshivros Channel in the Luxon side in the Jade Sea, and there's a guy named Imperial Herald. I'd like to think that he is an Imperial named Herald, but he's probably just a person with the title of Herald.
Right.
And he basically reiterates what Togo says in the cutscene. Or what Menlo says in the cutscene. I don't know. Somebody came running up and told us to get back to the city.
It was Menlo.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then Togo was like, to the city! And we were like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I actually got to stop by Zoshivros Channel. I got to get the official quest. I'll meet you there, though. Yeah. Because that's how this game functions. In Zoshivros Channel, like before we ran off, I wandered around a little bit and talked to a few people.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Do you remember Asen from Xingje, the spirit henchman?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, he's here. So all the Xingje like initiates are like the henchmen over here on the Luxon side.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so we had Chio and Professor Guy for a little bit were our ritualist go-tos. Now we've got Asen, and he's... Oh. Yeah, if you talk to him at Zoshivros Channel, he says that it's strange to be back among his people because he's actually Luxon. Huh. Yeah, he says they respect him more and that they no longer view his lack of sight as a weakness because he's like a trained ritualist now.
Right.
What I found so interesting about that is I thought that ritualists like removed their sight with the blindfold to like be closer to the spirit realm, but Asen is actually genuinely blind from the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think I always thought that they used it as a tool.
Well, because there are you definitely do not need a blindfold to be a ritualist. Master Togo is a ritualist, and he can see.
Yes.
Um,
And then
so
we meet ritualists later on, and they can see as well.
exactly, yeah. So Asen, just fun fact about him, he seems to be actually blind. I don't know if they like pushed him to be a ritualist because he's blind. They're like, listen, that's about the only thing that's going to work. But yeah, that
or
seems.
he was more drawn to it as a result.
Yeah, maybe the blindness, like, kind of like Daredevil, Marvel's Daredevil, right? Like he's just like, oh, I'm good at this. So yeah, he's hanging out there. There's also a collector there named Elder Pomona. Did you talk to her? No. She is collecting Kraken eyes. Kraken. It's closest to the original Scandinavian. She wants to enchant objects with the jelly inside of Kraken eyes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so apparently there's a lot of this in the Luxon collectors. A lot of them are looking for things from monsters because their like energy is good for enchanting weapons and armor.
Or their innards. I mean, these are the people that turned the bones of their hero into a spear. So
no, this all tracks. Yeah, this all tracks.
Right.
There's another collector named Christo Trillios, which is a great name, who wants moon shells because the moon is powerful and he can enchant weapons and armor with it. Like, this is a thing that Luxons like to do. They really like enchanted weapons and armor.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. And on the Luxon side also, much like you noticed in the area after Arborstone, we can now partner up with all the people whose asses we kicked in the convocation. So like Argo is available, Damon, Aurora, all the Sea Guards.
Yeah. So did you? Who did you party up with? Who did you take now?
Yeah, so some of them are pretty kick-ass. So I picked up Seaguard Hala and Seaguard Gita, because Gita is a protection monk with Life Sheath, which is just like a low-energy, fast recharge, spammable skill that removes conditions and has some, like, it's like Reversal of Fortune, kind of. It's a good skill.
Right. Yeah.
And then Seaguard Hala has like a hex that slows enemies down and it only costs 5 energy and it lasts for like 20 seconds. It's also a good skill. It's like AoE.
Yeah.
So I've got a Mesmer back on my team.
Nice.
That's pretty nice. And then I took Argo because he's basically just the same thing as Sin.
Right. And
Sin is no longer available to me.
No, Sin is over with me.
Yeah. So you get all the good characters, and I get stuck with Luxon, Sea Guards, and Initiates from Xingje Monastery.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think I have Sister Tai as my monk too. You've probably got Danica and Jamie, right?
I have Danica and Redemptor Carl.
Oh, you're stuck with Redemptor Carl. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, I've got Professor Guy, so Professor Guy came with me.
Professor Guy's a rock. Do you have Chio?
I do not have Chio. No, I had Chio at some point. She was available, and I had to take her.
Sunjiang District, I believe, is when we can take
probably.
her. She's like a city person. All right.
Yeah.
So after that tangent about
it's all good.
Kurzick and Luxon henchmen, there is a primary quest that we get from Imperial Herald. It is called City Under Attack, and despite our roundabout nature of the discussion, it's actually pretty urgent.
Right.
Did you leave from Boreas Seabed to do this, or did you go back to Matu Keep and port into Pongmei Valley?
Well, I didn't have Matu Keep, so I went into the closest outpost near Pongmei Valley, and then I ran and found Togo and Menlo chillin'.
Matu Keep is the way to go if you have it. They're like right outside.
And then I went in and opened up Matu Keep.
Yeah.
So. Because I remember I did forget to do that last time, and then I forgot to do it beforehand.
Yes, yeah, I remember you mentioning last time that you didn't manage to snag Matu Keep.
I kind of forgot.
And Menlo and Togo basically go over the same information we already know. They're like, hey, Shiro is amassing in the sewers. They mentioned that the Emperor has sent, like, a small force to hold off the afflicted, but they're not doing so hot.
No.
And so we have to go and kind of check on the situation, see what needs to be done.
Right.
So when you port out of Matu Keep into the area called the Shenzhen Tunnels, which is where we have to go, which is basically like the sewer. Like, back in the sewer with the liquid shit running around our ankles.
What cracks me up is that Togo's like, we need you to go down into the sewers and locate the Canthan forces. And I'm like, oh, and what are you going to be doing?
He's like, I'll go talk to the Emperor in Raizu Pavilion where it's nice.
Yeah.
I can eat cheese and grapes.
Right, and not have to wade through shit.
Yeah, quite literally. So we have to do the dirty work. We head out there with like Mike Rowe on an episode of Dirty Jobs. And immediately as you leave Matsu Keep, there's an Ampha guy standing there named Bakgu.
Yes.
Another fantastic name.
Yep.
And he has a quest for us called the Challenge.
Yes.
And you ditched this quest.
I ditched it because I ran into so many Kurzick quests that I was cross-eyed and brain dead. And I was like, you're gonna have to just go.
Okay, so you saved this quest until like the end of your play session. I was
gonna like go and do it, and then I was like, I can't. I don't have the brain width, the bandwidth,
the mental bandwidth.
No.
Yes. It's actually a pretty short quest. I have been playing this whole playthrough. We did like 3 episodes stuck in Kaining City, and I never realized that you can enter the Undercity from Vaizuna Square local.
Shut up.
Yeah, I never knew this. I was leaving from the marketplace and going through Wadget Bazaar every time.
No, yeah, it's not that far from Vaizuna Square.
Yeah, no, so I wikied the quest because I really didn't want to run through the Undercity, so I wanted to find the quickest way, and they're like, dude, just go to Vaizuna Square.
And you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this quest is actually a meme. There's a lot of meme references that I found this episode. This quest is a copy of the fight. Have you seen Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy?
Yes.
So ArenaNet loves this movie. There's a lot of references to it in the game, chiefly the God Walking Amongst Mere Mortals title track is all quotes from that movie as the titles. This is also an Anchorman thing. There's a scene in that movie where a bunch of different news crews show up and have like a battle royale to the death. And the same thing happens in this quest. So this Ampha guy issues you a challenge and is like, meet me in the Undercity, loser. And my quest accept dialogue is, your mother won't recognize you when I'm done with you.
Yes.
So immediately my character is like ready to throw hands.
I know, yeah. I wrote down in my notes, he wants us to meet him in the Undercity to rumble. That's kind of what it felt like.
There's big WWE energy here.
Yeah.
And so we show up and we meet Bakgu to have our fight with the Ampha guys, and he doesn't go hostile. And I'm like, okay, when's the fight gonna start? And then like the Star Tengu from wherever the hell that was, Napui Quarters show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're here also. And then the Jade Brotherhood show up and they're like, we too are here. And what other factions show up? There's a few. There's like 5 or 6 total like factions of enemies that show up here.
It's like the greatest hits from Kaining City.
It is, yeah. The challenge. Let me see here. So there's Ampha. There's Jade Brotherhood. There are Tengu. I guess it's just those 3. It felt like a lot more because there's a ton of NPCs, like total. Oh, there's another Ampha group that shows up. So it's not just Bakku's Ampha group. There's another Ampha group that shows up because their boss is Yanlin, who is a completely different guy.
Right. Okay.
And then so at this point, I'm like, oh, is this going to be like this is the joke? It's going to be a big fight. So I position myself at the back wall so that they all fight each other, and I'm not surrounded. Then the fight becomes very easy because I just kind of move forward and plow through it. All these specially named NPCs are not bosses, so you cannot capture skills from them, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's kind of sucky.
I don't know why the Star Tengu are there. I didn't get the impression the Star Tengu were like a gang, but for the purposes of this quest is like a joke quest, so it's very easy. It's not hard. It's just kind of a little joke. So yeah, I did that. And then I got back on track for the story because we have to go figure out what Commander Jafai needs. He's the guy who the Emperor sent to help defend the sewers in Shenzhen tunnels. Did you get from the dialogue in this quest? You get that this is a very urgent situation. He's like, people are dying. It's bad. Yeah, we can't hold them back.
Yeah, he's like, all my guys are like, they're dying. Please help. Like, get the Emperor to send us some reinforcements.
And the gameplay doesn't really back this up. Like a couple of groups of afflicted attack, and they're fairly easy. It doesn't seem that dire, but he basically, once we get to him in the Shenzhen tunnels, he's like, "Listen, we can't hack it. We need reinforcements." So we, of course, have to then go meet the Emperor at... I guess we've just got, like, the Emperor on speed dial at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we just head to Raizu Pavilion and we meet with him. He's, like, right there.
Yeah.
And as usual, when we meet the Emperor, he goes, talk to that guy over there and he'll tell you what to do.
He was standing right next to me.
Yeah.
And will tell you literally the same thing that I just did.
He says, like, I didn't write the quote down, I think, but he says, talk to my aide, known as the Emperor's Hand. I was like, he's standing right there. I've done a whole quest chain for him. I know who this man is. And he basically says that we are to escort members of the Emperor's, like, personal royal guard to help Commander Jafai. So, like, the elite guys, we're sending them in. And then when we leave... We go back to, I think I left from Matu Keep again. And we got to go back to where Commander Jafai was. We've got like 10 Royal Guard NPCs with us.
Yes. Now, did they fight at all for you as you were like pushing through some of these waves of afflicted?
They did, yeah. 2 of them died.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you're just killing things too fast for them to have even gone.
I don't know. I mean, some of them, they engaged like in one battle, and then after that, they just kind of stood back. And I don't know if it was because, since I'm on a ranged class,
maybe you body block them. Like, maybe you body block them with spirits.
I don't know. They were just kind of standing there like, okay.
I actually think you probably, like, if you're casting, because you are ranged, so if you cast Signet of Spirits, so your spirits engage, and then you, like, back up, you might be, like, out of bubble, and the guards might not realize, like, their AI might not be able to figure out that they need to fight.
Right.
Me being a melee character, the guards did help me. Yep.
That's good.
And I was able to get the guards there. I think we only lost like 2 or 3 of them. Most of them made it. You probably all of yours made it if they weren't really fighting.
Yeah, I think they all made it. I don't think I saw any of them die.
And then we don't really hear anything about that again. We kind of just do that quest, and then we have to do the mission, and we never...
We don't have them help us at all.
There's not a lot of gameplay that matches up with the story for this primary quest.
Did you talk to did you turn in the quest to Royal Guard Kazuya?
I did talk to Kazuya, yes.
Did you see what she said about being in the sewers?
Let me see. No, I didn't see what she said about the sewers.
She says, I'm starting to think this stench down here is never going to leave my nostrils.
Yeah, I'm glad that they put that in there. I didn't notice that bit. But I'm glad that they put that in there because we spent an inordinate amount of time in sewage in the factions campaign.
Yes.
It's noteworthy. It's a noteworthy amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that the NPCs acknowledge it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's more than just a setting. The NPCs are like, no, this sucks. Yeah. When we do bring the Royal Guards to Commander Jafai and drop them off, there is a cut. We have to go through the usual, 6 dialogue prompts before they'll actually transport us into the city.
Yes.
And then there is the mission cutscene. And it's shows, Menlo and Togo, we're running into... the part of the sewer we need to run into, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you notice the furnace that's against the wall?
Yeah.
Why is there a furnace in the sewer?
I mean, well, I would hope that they might be using it to perhaps pure sanitize the raw sewage out of the water system.
Well, I have a 3-word theory for what's going on here.
The cooking shit? I don't know what.
Geothermal poop power. It's
there's also that.
Out on the frontier on the wagon train, you'd harvest the buffalo chips and you'd burn them on the fire, right?
Right.
ArenaNet's played Oregon Trail. They know what's going on.
I mean, there's that, yeah.
The Kainan government, with the level of resource scarcity they're experiencing, they got to utilize the limitless rivers of liquid feces available beneath the city.
Yeah, there's that.
So I'd like to
power takes on a different kind of meaning.
Yeah, I'd like to think they bake it in this industrial furnace down here, and then distribute it to the population to use on on cooking fires. I don't know. There's not a lot of wood in Kaining City, so...
No. Well, unless you talk about their shacks on their little shantytown cities.
Right, because I don't know that they know how to make cardboard in the Tyrian universe, so those got to be made out of wood, right?
Yeah.
And every so often you probably... I don't know. I'm just saying, it's probably hard to make fires in Kaining City, because you probably don't want to burn down your dwelling.
The entire city, yeah.
So I'm thinking they use the one resource that they have unlimited amounts of. Let's just leave it there. That was way too long of a sideline discussion on the concept of geothermal poop power.
There you go.
There's a bunch in this cutscene. There's a bunch of blue spheres with like blue magical ley lines running, like interconnecting them throughout this district of the sewer. Yeah. Shiro is in one of them.
He is.
And
and he's just kind of hanging out. He emerges from it, and then I wrote down he swaggers out, and he's like, "They've arrived. Good, let them come." And I'm like, "All right." And then he just goes into another and floats like the Buddha.
Yeah, he does. He goes crisscross applesauce, and he sits down to wait for us. There's not a lot of... ArenaNet is capable of some very fun, like, prose in their writing. None of that went into Shiro's dialogue.
No.
It's all very generic. I'm going to make you my slaves, right? Like, it's just very generic.
Generic villain.
Like Power Rangers villain type of shit. They've arrived. Good. That sort of thing going on. Not complicated. I feel like some of the better writing in the game, actually, is the little blurbs they give the collectors.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of the fun stuff.
I don't know. Whoever was assigned that task, they must have had a real good time.
No, I want that task. I want ArenaNet to hire me to make collectors. I can do that. Listen, someone else will have to do all the art and programming and item creation, but I can write paragraphs about Tyrian trinkets all day. I'll take it. I'll take anything you have, ArenaNet. So we've got Shiro is basically in this invulnerability sphere, and I'm not super clear on what his plan is.
No, I think he's just like making more. He's trying to like amass his army.
Yeah, so I guess his plan is to sit safe in the sphere while his army takes over the city.
Yeah, because they've got the enemies that you have to take out once you get into the mission. The wiki's pretty clear. Make sure that you take out the guard of the portals, and that's not what they're actually called. There's something of the portals.
Portal Wraith, Portal Spirit. I think Portal Wraiths were from Prophecies.
Yeah, so I think these are spirits of the portals or something like that.
They are the exact same concept as the Portal Wraiths from Hell's Precipice in Prophecies.
Yes.
Go listen to episode 17, guys, if you haven't. Yeah, they're spirits, and if you kill them, the portals that are summoning afflicted disappear.
Yeah.
Which I don't...
But if you don't kill them quick enough, they will start rezzing enemies that you have killed. Yeah,
because it says Shiro is summoning creatures from the mists. This is information we get from the podium guy, I think. Or Master Togo says it in the cutscene.
I think he says it in the cutscene.
Yeah, the Shiro is summoning extra, like, afflicted from the mists. I thought afflicted were created in the real world from people who get the plague.
Well, remember there was
that the plague in the mists also?
Well, remember he had that one cutscene, there was a one cutscene where he took out two Canthan nobles, just who were walking down the street, and then he was supposed to envoy or shepherd their souls to the mist, essentially, and then he ended up corrupting them and taking over their corpses, I think.
Right.
And turned them into afflicted that way.
Right. I'm just not clear on where the...
Like, how does that connection come with the plague?
I love the idea that the plague has spread so far that it's now in the mists.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
he is an envoy, so maybe that's why.
Maybe I didn't pay attention to what's going on in the mission, but just not super clear on where the monsters, why there's afflicted coming out of the mist portals. But it's mostly fine. Don't think about it too much.
Okay.
This mission, I thought it was going to be hard. It's not that hard.
No. I remembered it being harder. For
Yeah.
whatever reason.
I think I remember a lot of these being hard because I've done them in hard mode. Where, yeah, I mean, it's called hard mode. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Right.
There is a podium guy for this mission. Is it Kazuya? No, I don't think so.
No, you know what? It may have been Kazuya.
Yeah,
but
it is Kazuya.
Okay.
Yeah. So Royal Guard Kazuya is the one that we turn in the primary quest to.
Yes.
And they, as Miko mentioned, they make mention of how wretched it is down in the sewers.
Yeah.
Kazuya does let us know that each body that of a deceased Royal Guard or Canthan soldier buys us a little more time to defeat Shiro. So the dialogue tells us the situation is very dire. The gameplay doesn't communicate that as well.
Right.
Kazuya points out that destroying the rifts is the key to making Shiro vulnerable. So not only are these rifts teleporting enemies in, they are feeding the invulnerability of the bubble that Shiro is meditating in. So, like, picture a central bubble that Shiro's in, and then there's like 4 branching bubbles that monsters come out of. You got to kill all of the bubbles to make Shiro's bubble pop, essentially.
It's like he's using, what is it in Voldemort? He split his soul.
Yeah, he's kind of got a few Horcruxes going on.
Horcruxes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that.
Like if the Horcruxes opened portals that Death Eaters just climbed out of.
Right, but for whatever reason, he's able to draw power. So if you threaten that power, or you just disable that power, or cut off his ability to connect to that power, then you weaken him.
Yeah, it's almost like the more you think about Harry Potter, the more iterative it is, and the less it becomes less and less original the more you think about it. I still enjoy Harry Potter despite all the like holes people poke in it. I'm like, yeah, I still want to read that book though.
Yeah.
There are Luxon and Kurzick representatives in the Sunjiang District Mission Outpost.
Yes.
The Kurzick guy has a shitload to say. The Luxon guy says like 2 sentences.
Yes, I noticed that.
The Luxon person is just like, yeah, it sucks to be here. Hopefully this works out. Deacon Frederick.
Deacon Frederick is a lot. Frederick, yeah, he's got a lot to say.
He's got this whole deal about like he had a vision about a snake and a
mouse
sleeping
together.
He's great. He
really
kind of.
It sort of tracks though. That's kind of like the Luxons are more kind of get to the point, one with the earth, I guess, if you want to think of it that way, and the Kurzicks are more. They try to commune with the gods and.
They're very oracle
with
driven.
Music and they're very oracle, very musical driven, very just.
And Miko's going to tell us all about that because she's been spending a lot of time in the Ekavald Forest.
Yeah.
And I assume Deacon is like one rank below Redemptor, like you.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not actually fully clear on their ranking, but
we'll
just go with that.
It's not super well explained, but yeah, Frederick is a Deacon. And he basically says that based on the vision he had, it means Shiro just existing is an affront to the gods, and that's a no-go for the Kurzicks.
Yeah.
So we gotta help. And now that we have like the lowdown from Kazuya and Deacon Frederick has given us his blessing, we can hop into the mission. Now it gives you both relics that you can take with you on the mission, but obviously we're only one player, so we have to pick.
Yeah.
Which one did you bring?
I brought the spear.
Same. One thing I didn't realize, and you'll see it, I don't remember whose mission footage. I think I put both of our Boreas seabed footage in last mission. You'll see me holding the spear the whole time. You don't actually have to hold it. It'll charge up if it's just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until this mission. So that's awesome. You basically just drop it at the beginning of an encounter, and then it helps you kill everything, and in killing everything, it charges up again.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is great.
So yeah, I also brought the spear through. It actually saved my ass. This mission is very easy, but there's a part in closing one of the portals where you can kind of over aggro if you're being very lazy, which I was. And I almost died, and I dropped the spear, and it managed to kill everything and save me.
Was this the one by the poison water?
Yeah, it's like you start out up on a big hill and you have to go down. Yeah, and there's kind of some groups close together. If you pull them with a bow, it's like fine, but I just charged in, and that turned out to be a bad idea.
Right.
But the spear, I had the spear, so it was fine.
Yeah, the spear's great. Plus, I read the wiki, and the wiki says that the urn doesn't affect the heroes or henchmen. So I was like, well, that's an easy decision that I made. Thanks, wiki.
Oh wow! So the urn only works on fellow players.
Yep.
The urn sucks. The urn's trash. I don't have any notes about this mission. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's the same kind of deal as Tenekai Temple, but Tenekai Temple's way harder. Mm-hmm. You just go from point A to point B, really. Yeah, and you just have to, so long as you're targeting the spirit of the portals to make sure that they can't res their friends, that's it. You kill them, and that closes the rifts. And all the while, Shiro is like mocking you while you go, and Togo's telling you, "Oh look, don't step over there. It'll, burn." Or, "Oh no, don't stand over there. It'll cause you to bleed." And you're like, "Thanks." Yeah, there's traps that'll like spike floor. That'll like or fire will come out of it. They're not gonna kill you. they're not that dangerous. They're annoying. They're annoying, yeah. But yeah, they're not that bad. And then at the end, once you go in to face Shiro, what you really get is his constructs again, the Shirokin, and there are 4 of them. So long as you don't over aggro. So are the constructs? I think the constructs are different than the Shirokin. I think they are. I think you are correct. Let me, because I think they look like. It says defeat. Yeah. They look like big Shiro's constructs. They look like big practice dummies. Yeah, they're like big, like empty suits of armor. They're actually. I'm pulling them up on the wiki now, and you don't really pay attention to what they look like in the game because you're like playing the game. But the suits of armor that they are do look kind of cool. They've got like horned helmets. They all look the same, no matter what profession. But they're just brown. I've always pictured them in my mind as like square cardboard, like practice dummies. Did you have lower res graphics growing up? Probably playing this on a CRT, like a beige CRT in 2006. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. But they're you can pull these guys one at a time, and they're not that hard. This mission. Now, did you get all of the same? Which professions did you get? Let me see if I can remember. I believe I got assassin, elementalist, mesmer, and ritualist. Oh, okay. I got wait, where'd it go? I got monk, warrior. I think I got monk. I'm pretty sure it was monk because I'm pretty sure it wasn't ritualist. But I got mesmer, warrior, monk, and one other. I've lost it in my notes. I had it in my notes. I think the ritualist necro. Is... Oh, necro. Okay. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. I either got assassin or warrior. I don't remember which. I got a melee one. Yeah, mine was definitely warrior. And looking at these on the wiki now, they all drop a green, like a unique item. They're all called like Kowlin, like staff, Kowlin, blade. The skins are all right. They're not too bad. Wow, I did not get a green drop. I did not either. Okay. I'm kind of... If I find a good bow, I might go back to the bow build. I'm really not liking dagger assassin. I don't like it. About the good daggers. Well, so they're health plus 30 and their armor penetration 20, I think, which is very nice. But their damage plus 15% while in stance. And running a stance on an assassin is actually kind of a pain in the ass. It's very energy prohibitive to run a stance on assassin. So yeah, I'm not doing that right now. Right. So I'm just missing out. Getting on that damage boost. Yeah. So I the game was much more comfortable on the bow. And that was kind of a fun gimmick. And I like the attack animations of the bow on assassin. They're very cool. I was talking with one of our commenters about how much fun the bow assassin build was. So I think I'm going to keep my eye out for a bow. But yeah, did you have trouble with any of the constructs, or were they pretty easy?
No, so long as I kept my team from running in at all of them and aggroing the world, I just flagged them and we were good.
Nice. Yeah. It's not too hard at all. And we get once you defeat them, the envoys show up and kind of give us a talking to.
Yeah. Yeah, Togo tells us that the spear and the urn were destroyed in the fight and that he's not sure if Shiro was destroyed also, and that's when the envoys show up and they tell you, nope, he's not gone, but you've dealt him a mighty blow.
I like how we didn't take the urn with us, but it was destroyed in the fight.
I know. I know. And then your character is like, but we don't have the spear in the urn, so how are we supposed to defeat him? And that's when they're like, you've got to seek out the Luxons and the Kurzicks and get them to join forces again, because now that he's weakened, if they combine forces and fight together, then you can win.
I'm trying to think, because I've like played this before, right? And I know how the story goes. I'm trying to think how uniting the Luxons and the Kurzicks helps us in any way, but I'm sure we'll have our memories refreshed as we play through the campaign.
Yeah, I don't remember it either, but I mean, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sure. I feel like the story and factions, they had an idea for a villain with a motivation, right?
Right.
And then they kind of had to filler their way through like the mission content, because this feels like a big filler mission.
Right. Yeah.
Either that, or this was supposed to be the end of the game, and then they realized there's only like 8 missions, and they were like, we need to make another half a game. Yeah. And maybe they were also like, we can't just have the game end in the sewers, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Did you notice? And I didn't catch on to this last time, but it looks like one of the messengers, and I can't remember which one it is now or what his name was. But it looks like he's got a knife sticking out from his forehead.
One of the envoys?
Yes.
Do the envoys have unique names? Or are they... Oh, yeah. Courier Trivos. Herald Demrakov. Wow. They do have unique names.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's Harold Demrakov that has the knife sticking out of his head. I think that's...
They've got all sorts of, like, weird... They've got all sorts of weird visual stuff going on with their faces and headdresses and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, he does. He has a unicorn horn.
Now, is that a unicorn horn, or is that like... Yeah.
Per the concept art, so not the in-game art, but the concept art.
The concept art,
it appears to be that he just has like a narwhal thing going on.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if that was like, if he had ever been alive, because he's an envoy, if he, died with somebody taking a spear or something to his head, and so we just get that. Okay,
now I'm deep diving on the wiki, and it appears that, because here's what the notes section on the wiki says about Harold Demrakov. It says artwork displays Harold Demrakov as a warrior wielding Demrakov's judgment, and I'm like, what the hell is Demrakov's judgment?
Yeah, it's a weapon.
It's a weapon that you can get from the Zacian vendors. It's one of the Zacian weapons you can get for like Zacian coins.
Cool.
I think it's one of the uniques, so it's a green rarity. If you want the moddable version, you would have to get the gold rarity. That costs a lot more. It's a really sweet looking sword.
It's very cool. Sweet looking sword, yeah.
Envoy is very interesting. Not a lot of information about him, and he 100% has a narwhal horn. That's crazy. I did not notice that.
Yeah, I couldn't unsee it once I'd seen it, and I was like, "Oh dear."
You seem to have a knack for noticing protruding objects from cinematic NPCs.
Something about
they're just distracting.
About it, I don't know. Yeah. It's like, oh, what is that?
Yeah. So they give us the directive that the only way to defeat Shiro is to unite the Luxons and Kurzicks. Menlo's going to go Kurzick. Togo's going to go Luxon. We get to choose who we tag along with.
Yes.
And
you
then
must also choose a side.
Yes, bingo. And there is another flashback cinematic to Shiro's past, and it's like a gnarly one.
Yeah, he and the fortune teller are chatting again, and the fortune teller tells him that the Emperor plans to kill him because he fears his power. And Shiro doesn't believe her. calls her a liar, and then cuts her down.
Yeah, he does like a sweet attack animation and just kills this defenseless old woman.
I know, and she's like lying on the floor, and she's still like trying to like help him while she's dying.
I just like that instead of just stabbing her, he did like a whole move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she tells him that it's going to happen at the Kwanjun Temple and to beware the harvest ceremony.
Yep.
And that he's going to have to choose between himself and the Emperor.
Yep, it's do or die at the harvest ceremony.
And now, what did you make? Because the cutscene ends with Shiro saying, "What have I done?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why are you asking this?
So he's not it's interesting because the end of the story in Factions is not the end of the story in Factions.
Right.
Do you know the thing about the fortune teller?
No, because I haven't played through the purity cult thing.
No. I'm not talking about Winds of Change. You played Nightfall, right?
I have, yes.
Do you know the Nightfall thing about the fortune teller?
I don't remember the fortune teller being in Nightfall.
There's a little more information about the fortune teller. Let's just put it that way.
All right.
And it'll be very fun to talk about when it comes up. But
okay, cool.
There is more going on with the fortune teller and Shiro than meets the eye.
Okay.
But yeah, this cutscene would imply that Shiro is not an evil person by default.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting. I wrote down, like, is he lamenting that he's killed her? Is he lamenting that everyone seems to be afraid of him, including the Emperor? Like, he doesn't have a place where he fits in? I don't know. So I just wrote down a lot of questions, basically.
I think he's supposed to be lamenting that he's just slaughtered an innocent person, like a defenseless innocent person. And then I think what makes him kill the Emperor is the paranoia that gets created by the fortune teller's final prophecy.
Yeah. I kind of got that.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Because the fortune teller has proven her prophecies to be accurate so far. Right. So Shiro has every reason to believe that what she's told him is true about the Emperor. So I believe that's what drives him to do the deed that we see him do in the CGI trailer. ArenaNet, make that play at the beginning of the game.
I know.
So, and then we are dumped in Matu Keep.
Yes.
So you didn't even really need to run over and grab it.
No, I know, but I did anyway.
And now we get to find out why Jamie is a NPC here.
Yeah.
Because she's a quest giver.
She's a quest giver, and is she the one that was friends with Menlo?
Yeah, she's like Menlo's best friend from high school.
Yes.
Whose sin totally doesn't need to be worried about.
Right. Right. I know, but she's still totally jealous.
Mainly because Danica is now in the picture. No.
Right.
Jamie has quest options for us. So she has 2 primary quests available. And we got to pick.
Yep.
We got to do Journey to Cavalon or Journey to House Zu Heltzer. Mm-hmm. I picked Journey to Cavalon because that is where you go for the Luxon stuff.
Yes, and I chose Journey to House Zu Heltzer because I followed the Kurzick line.
All right, perfect. So this is now where the plot diverges. This is going to be a bit of a weird episode because we got to kind of tell both sides of the story. Right. Strap in, folks. It might be a long one because we are 48 minutes in and we haven't even reached the plot split yet. So basically, Cavalon is the major city of the Luxons. House Zu Heltzer is the major city of the Kurzicks. Mm-hmm. There is another quest we can get in Matu Keep. So last episode, I mentioned that it was weird that this map maker guy was in Matu Keep, but he didn't have a quest.
Right.
Turns out the map maker guy is just waiting for you to do Xinjiang district, and then he's like, "Hey, I heard you're going over to the, do you want to make a map?" What excuse does he have for a reason they need a map of the Ekavald Forest?
Oh, God, wait, I gotta find that quest. In my notes. I gotta scroll through pages and stuff.
Well, because I can tell you... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I would say he says, word has it that you've explored the forest and met the Kurzicks. I've got a proposition. Since the Jade Wind changed the landscape, no one has gone through and drafted new maps.
Yeah.
And he wants you to go and do that, to scout out the Echovold Forest and give him the information that he needs for his maps.
Yeah, he had the same reason for me. He was like, in the 200 years since the Jade, no one's made new maps. I was like, bro, people live there.
I know, right?
I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe that no one's mapped this in 200 years. There's an entire civilization there that's like a player on the world stage. I guarantee you they have it fully mapped.
It kind of makes you wonder, you know, in the same way that Rhea roasts Togo for not knowing about Luxon culture. Like, what is happening in, like, the mainland or main part of Cantha that they're not doing much with, or not really communicating as well with the Kurzicks and the Luxons about their lands?
100%, yeah. I think Mapmaker, or Sakai the Mapmaker, is just kind of out of touch. I think he doesn't really get it. He's probably a guy that doesn't actually know any Luxons and Kurzicks, right?
Right.
So he has no idea if what he's saying is actually true.
Yeah. Clearly he hasn't gone to Xingje Monastery, where several of them are hanging out as students.
It's like if somebody from, like, South Dakota was like, hey, nobody's been to the Amazon jungle in 200 years.
Yeah.
You want to make me a map with a paper and a pencil? Like that. It's got that sort of energy. This map quest, you didn't finish this, right?
No, because I picked up so many side quests in the Echovold Forest. So I got one zone done, and every time I went into a new one, if I happened to, like, portal out or go into a new outpost, it would reset my progress, and that just made me want to, you know, throw things.
Yeah, no, this quest is a pain in the ass, basically. Yeah. I was able to do it because there's not as much going on quest-wise on the Luxon end as there is on the Kurzick end. Mm-hmm. But you really got to remember not to zone into places while you're doing this until the area has been completed. It basically, you have to touch 5 locations in 4 different explorable areas. Mm-hmm. And you have to do all 5 in one run. So you can't touch 2 of them and then rezone and then go do the other 3. You have to do all 5 in one run without rezoning. So this really affected the order in which I had to do quests on the Luxon side. Because if I go into an area, I have to finish my little Mapmaker quest section before I can go do other stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I did rezone once and I lost all my progress at like 4 out of 5. And it made me very angry.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we have to do. I took the Luxon one. I did complete it. And you went the Kurzick route. Now, I did 7 side quests, including the challenge. So I only did 6 Luxon side quests, and some of them were chains. So there's not nearly as much going on the Luxon side. How many side quests did you say you did on the Kurzick side?
Double that, 14.
Dear Lord, what is going on over there?
There's like two quests that I picked up at House Zuhelzer ended up being chains. One of them was only like a 2 quest chain, which was like nice, but one of them was like a 4 or a 5 quest chain. I lost track. And it just pings you all over the Echovold Forest, which, you know, would have been good for the map making stuff, except that I kept having to I was just like, I should be doing the map making thing, but I was just so tired and brain dead that I was like, I can't.
It just adds so much time to whatever you're doing to do the map making thing.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, no, the map making will have to wait. I didn't abandon it, but
It's just on the back burner.
Yeah. How much faction did you end up with by the time you were done?
14,000.
Yeah, I'm like almost at 20,000.
Just from quest turn-ins and having your shrine buff active.
Yeah, I stopped picking up the shrine buff for like the last couple of quests.
It costs 100 gold.
I mean, it didn't matter because I made like 6 or 7 platinum, but I mean...
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even care about faction anymore. Like, sure, just give me whatever you're going to give me from turning in the quest. That's cool.
Yeah, because some of these quests will give you like 150 gold or 250 gold or something as a reward. And if you do a lot of these quests, you'll just have like a pile of money after, which I noticed as well. It's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you made it to House Zuhelzer, because that's kind of like a little bit deeper into the forest than we've been so far.
Yeah.
And was there anyone interesting to talk to at House Suhelzer?
There were several interesting people at House Suhelzer. Now I've got to go and try to find everything that. Let's go this way. Let's look at the wiki. So there is a historian of the houses, and he can tell you all about the different houses of the Kurzick culture. There's the Zuhelzers, there's the Vassbergs, the Browers, the Lutgardises, and the Durheims. And I think I ran into people from 4 of the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In my running around.
So there's a little more there's a little more going on with that in the Kurzick side, because there are only 3 clans that the historian at Cavalon tells me about: the turtle, the crab, and the serpent, the same ones we fought in the convocation. Are any of the backstories of the Kurzick clans interesting?
Yeah, I mean, they each one takes one of the 5 gods as their patron.
Oh.
And so the Zuhelzers, their patron god is Dwayna, and so they're the ones that are more in tune with the gods, or with magical protections, if you want to call it that way, or think of it that way. So it kind of makes sense. The cathedral had all of these protections around it, and now those have kind of disintegrated, and they're trying to figure out why.
Yeah, because at this point in Tyrian history, they're the 5 gods.
Yeah, they're the 5 gods.
Because in Guild Wars, 2 players will be used to the 6, right? And technically there is 6 gods, but we don't talk about that 6th guy, and we're going to learn about him in Nightfall. The stories for the clans on the Luxon side are mildly interesting. The Turtle clan, of which Argo is the champion and Juno is the captain.
Okay.
Apparently Juno's father used to be the captain, but one day they all went on a hunt, and they went out into the woods, and only Juno and Argo came back. And nobody knows what happened, but Juno's the boss now.
Right.
Elora is the captain of the Crab clan, and her village was burnt to the ground by the Kurzicks when she was young. The Kurzicks and the Luxons are at war, by the way.
Right.
I don't know if we've gone over that, but it's bad. And she disappeared, so they didn't find her. Her brother was the only one left, and so they made him the clan leader, but he was a dog shit leader, he sucked. One day she just turns up with a pack of salt spray dragons and fucking obliterates him. And she becomes leader. So that's what's going on with the Crab clan. There's someone named Captain Lexus, who is the captain of the Serpent clan. I do a quest chain for this lady. And she basically tricked her brothers into all fighting each other for control of the clan, and then she slit the last guy's throat after he finished killing everyone.
Dude, that's a little brutal.
Yeah, no, they're kind of interesting little vignettes about each of these clan captains for the Luxons. So nothing about the gods really. Not a lot of god stuff on the Luxon side.
Yeah, the Kurzicks all they're all very into culture, if you think of it. There's always something there. So
the arts.
The arts, yeah. The arts of any variety. So the art of war, the House of Vassberg, they're the ones who are allied with Balthazar. They're the greatest warriors and the fighters. And they kind of think of battle as a dance, and so you get a lot of this kind of movement of music and aesthetics that way. The House of Brower, their patron god is Lissa, and they pursue sculpture and painting. The Lutgardis, they are all about music. And I found one Lutgardis guy in House Zuhelzer, and he sent me on a merry quest chain to get different things for musical instruments he was trying to create to make himself famous. And then Durheim is the ones that I did not run into. They are known as the Old House, and they're historians and scholars.
And they follow Dwayna?
And they follow Grenth.
Oh.
Yeah,
I believe Durkheim Archives is going to be where you spawn in after the next mission, I think.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And it's a challenge mission.
Yeah. So they're historians, scholars, poets, and playwrights. So they're really more about knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And knowledge, archiving knowledge and learning from wordsmithing, I guess.
They're librarians.
They're librarians, yeah.
Have you ever seen a anime series called Samurai Champloo?
Yes, I have. I own it.
Yeah, Jin is a Kurzick and Mugen is a Luxon.
That's 100% accurate.
That's the best way I can think of to describe.
That really, really is. That's a really good comparison.
Yeah, even to the point of like the colors they wear. Like Jin wears like dark black and blue, and Mugen wears red, right?
Yeah.
That's the best way I can think of it. I'd be very amazed if somebody on the writing team wasn't inspired by those two characters when creating these two factions.
God, now I want to go watch Samurai Champloo.
It's a great 24 episodes.
It's really great.
And it encapsulates the Kurzick Luxon beef perfectly.
It really does.
Guys, if you want to understand factions, go watch Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, good. Plus, it's got good music.
It does, yes. Good music, good animation. This episode's sponsored by Samurai Champloo.
Yes.
A 20-year-old anime series.
Yes.
So you did a whole bunch of quests.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is like the biggest, grandest quest chain that you took part in?
So, I mentioned this quest chain for Vasily Lutgardis, and because he's of the Lutgardis clan, he wants to make musical instruments. So he starts you off, and he wants to make he wants you to go and find the melodic gaki flute. He wants to make a gaki flute. Well, I guess I did run into a gaki. We were talking about that earlier.
You've at least talked about a gaki.
Well, yeah. And so I had to go and kill one.
I can't wait to put a gaki up on the screen. They're so fucking wretched looking.
He's like, I'm trying to become a legendary instrument crafter, but it's harder than it looks. So, he wants to make unique masterpieces, and so he's got this idea for this melodic gaki horn.
He wants to be like a custom order. Like he wants to have a Etsy store.
He wants to have the Etsy store. He wants to, but he's not willing to go out and kill these dangerous animals or monsters that he wants to make instruments from.
There are certain things he has to outsource.
Yes, the killing part, and actually going to do the work. So he wants you to go out and get the melodic gaki horn so that he can go and make his melodic gaki flute. And so you go out and you find an enemy called melodic gaki.
Oh,
of course, the melodic gaki. Yeah, the melodic gaki was out in, I want to say it was Ferndale. I felt like I was in Ferndale forever. But it was surrounded by a bunch of wardens, like multiple mobs of wardens. And so I was like, oh, look, there's the melodic gaki. And so I was trying to deal with the wardens first. But the melodic gaki came over to play as well. And so I didn't even know what he looked like.
He's a ritualist, right?
I don't even know.
Oh, he just died in the confusion.
He just died in amidst all of Sin's AoE damage and my spirits killing shit, and so all of a sudden it was like melodic gaki horn is on the ground, and I was like, well, crap.
One thing I have noticed about watching Miko's footage when I'm editing the show is she kind of just presses her skills and then watches numbers happen.
Pretty much.
I'm very jealous of this play style. I'm trying to do this melee thing with the camera zoomed in, and so I'm constantly turning the camera and painstakingly clicking on the enemy I want. I quite like Ritualist. It's very funny that I don't have a Ritualist character on my account because the hero comps I run are always triple Ritualist.
Right.
Yeah, it's a nice class.
Yeah, it's great.
Was he appreciative that you brought him the gaki flute?
Yes, he was super excited. He was like, "Oh my gosh, the melodic gaki really exists." And he tells you that he's like, I never doubted it for a moment, of course. And you're like, sure. Why do I think that you just sent us out on a total whim with like half information that you weren't even sure was true?
Yeah, no, big like rich kid hiring an expedition to find Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh,
energy.
yeah. And so he's like, yeah, I think this is going to be a profitable partnership, is what he tells you. And as soon as you accept the quest, his next one just immediately pops up. You don't even like get the chance to like not talk to him. His next one, he wants you to go and kill a Discord wallow because he wants to make a lyre. You know what a lyre is?
Yeah, it's like a harp guitar combo.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so he wants you to go and kill a wallow, but it's a Discord wallow. Why is it a Discord wallow?
Because it has the necromancer skill Discord?
There's that, but it's something about the sounds that it makes are discordant. Because remember, they're all about music.
This is a musical themed question. I actually like this a lot.
Yeah, so he wants you to go out and find the Discord wallow. And the Discord wallow, if I remember correctly, was out in Melandru's Hope.
Discord Wallow does not have the skill Discord. It has weakened knees.
It has weakened knees. Yes, it did hit me with weakened knees, and I was like, "There's a skill called weakened knees."
That's the thing. Isn't Discord a faction skill? That's a huge miss. It is a faction skill for necromancers. It's a huge miss not giving that creature that skill.
I mean, yeah. So the Discord Wallow, he tells you that it's from the memory of it's. The Discord Wallow is but the memory of myth, right? If the melodic Gaki is myth, the Discord Wallow is but the memory of myth. But he believes it exists. And he wants you to go and find it, kill it, and bring him back the sinew of the Discord Wallow so that he can make his lyre.
How'd that go?
I mean, I went and did it. I went and killed the lyre, and the Discord Wallow was also surrounded by mantises this time. Also some wardens, because they're everywhere. And, Discord Wallow died. I got the sinew, and I'm like, great, here we go. Go back to Vasily. I'm thinking, great, we're done. Vasily's happy. No, Vasily's not happy. He now wants to make a drum.
Out of the story. Wait, let me guess. A drum would be the stretched skin of something over the drum body, right? The skin of a Dredge?
No.
Okay, what is it?
Nope. A drinker.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. And so, but he wants you to go, he calls it the rhythm drinker because he's going to make a rhythm drinker drum.
The rhythm drinker sounds like a really sick DJ.
Yeah, right?
That's my DJ name.
Yeah. So, but his reason for why he wants the drum is because the last two instruments have been big hits. The originals alone will allow me to retire someday, and happy. And so I'm like, oh, great.
Big hits? Is that a pun? Is that a purposeful pun when we're discussing the construction of a drum?
Who knows? But he's like, yeah. So he's like, the last thing that he needs is, I've got one last creative challenge for you, partner. And we're like, oh, we're your partners now?
He's very into this, and you're begrudging in every possible way.
He's like, you are my dangerous, silent partner. And I'm like, you are a motherfucker is what you are.
Well, because he's making fistfuls of cash. Meanwhile, he's paid you like 150 gold for these quest rewards.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a 90-10 split here.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He does give you a lot of... You do get like 3,000 experience for each of his quests, which is like, all right.
If we walk it back to episode 15 of Tyria then, based on the quest dialogue reward at the Ice Caves of Sorrow, experience points are physical things that exist in the world of Tyria.
Yes. Yes.
Go watch that whole 2-hour episode if you don't know what I'm talking about. That's the same lady that falls asleep on you if you watch her long enough.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. So you've got to go out and kill the rhythm drinker to bring him its wing so that he can make his drum. Oh
yeah, a winged creature. That would make sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking leathery skin, and I went Dredge.
Well, I mean,
but wings are even more leathery.
Mm-hmm. So you go out, you kill the rhythm drinker, and it had some Dredge nearby, actually. So I was trying not to get him to come over. So, killed the rhythm drinker, picked up its wing, took it back, I think this was the last quest that I did, and by golly, by the end of this session, I was like, I'm so done with you, Vasily. Please don't give me any more quests.
You saved, like, the troll quest line for your last one.
Yeah. And when you turn it into him, he says, well, I'll be a tango dipped in. You did it! And I'm like, did you really not think that I would do it when I brought you back sinews from a Discord wallow, a thing from a magical gaki? Like, stop this with this crap.
Wait, he said, I'll be a tengu dipped in what? ... Oh.
That's what it says. And I'm like...
Oh, dear.
I know. I was like, what in the world?
I like how the writing team was just like, I don't know what to put here.
I know. We're just gonna give them this little cliffhanger.
I think the idea is that he said something crass.
Yeah. So Vasily Lutgardis has now 3 instruments: a horn, or a flute, a lyre, and a drum, made from the parts of mythical monsters that are not mythical, but actually part of the world of Cantha.
And he can retire early
because he's made a boatload of cash.
Yeah, and you've got like 800 faction out of this.
I've gotten 750 faction per quest.
Yeah, let's actually talk about, because the reason we're doing all these quests, right? We like side questing, but when you do make it to the primary city you're going to, like for me, Cavalon, for you, House of Helzer, the next primary quest is the befriending the Kurzicks or Luxons, depending on which side you're on. And mine is from Elder Rhea. Yours is probably from Count Zu Helzer.
Yep.
And they basically say you need to engage with the video game part of this and go get 10k faction.
Right.
Which are just like they're little red or blue points that you earn depending on which side you're fighting for. You can get faction from quest rewards. You can get a little shrine buff from the res shrines outside of affiliated cities, and you'll get like 20 faction or 10 faction per kill. When you're killing mobs, you get like 100 for a boss.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing. Our primary quest is to earn faction so we can progress forward in the game.
Right. We've got to earn 10,000 faction.
And you can spend this faction on stuff as long as you are in a guild with a faction vendor, I believe.
Yeah, and I think there are faction quartermasters in the cities as well that you can get stuff from.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because you can buy, like, I think I would always spend mine on Jade or Amber fragments, or you can donate it to your guild.
Right.
And it donates at a rate of, like, 2 to 1, so if you donate 10,000, your guild gets 20, I want to say. Right. But yeah, that's kind of a game system that they added to factions that they force you to engage with here. It's not that bad, but I did some quests, too.
You said you had a couple of chains as well. What was the good one?
Yeah, let's talk about the most bizarre one
okay,
first.
There you go.
Let's talk about a quest called the Halcyon Job, which is from Captain Lexus. This is the captain of the Serpent Clan that killed her own brothers to become captain.
Right.
She says that there is a Canthan guild, so not Luxon or Kurzick, a Canthan guild nearby called the Guild of 1,000 Daggers. And they are encroaching on Luxon territory. And they seem to be allied with the Kurzicks. That seems bad. So they send us to assassinate the leader, whose name is Lord Senkai. And we are also to assassinate the Kurzick war captain that's, like, helping him. And we are to replace their leader with a guy named Captain Rion, who is the captain of a ship called the Halcyon. Now, a ship is an interesting way to describe this, because as we talked about last episode, the Jade Sea, it has been petrified, much like the Ekavold Forest, and it is now like green jade. It's stone. You can't sail on it, right? But the Halcyon is this big wooden ship castle thing. It looks like it's made out of wicker more than anything else. But it's weird looking. And it's right outside, it's in the Boreas seabed explorable area, like right outside Zoshivros Channel, I want to say. And it's just this big, like, wicker fortress. It's so weird. And I don't know what the point of being captain of this is. It's basically just a building. And Captain Rion is right outside, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to kill this guy. And he's like, cool, me and a couple of my goons are going to come with you. And he's got some goons there, right? I talk to them, and they don't have that many interesting things to say. You run up, and this all takes place in the Boreas seabed explorable area. So there's like some hills you can run up on, and you get to this like guild hall that's got like Canthan architecture, like the gray stone and the red wood, right? Mm-hmm. And immediately as soon as I enter this, a peasant turns hostile, and he's like level 10, and my NPCs of course just kill him because he's turned hostile. So I've opened by butchering peasants. And there's peasants and nobles in here, and they're NPCs. As soon as you kill the first peasant, they go unhostile and they turn back to green, and they're like cowering in fear of me because I've just entered the premises and immediately killed someone. So they're afraid of me now. Mm-hmm. And as I go deeper into the guild hall, they all start out, all the peasants and nobles start out as hostile, and then they go green when I walk by them. Just a weird vibe. And then, even though, so I'm here on behalf of the Luxons to kill this guy and his Kurzick helpers, I'm attacked by Luxon assassin pop-up spawns.
Huh.
I don't know why. This, based on the quest dialogue, this makes no sense.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on there, but I kill a bunch of Luxon assassins for whatever reason. The end fight is with Lord Senkai, and he's just standing there by himself. But like, I know this game, right? I know there's going to be like an ambush mob that comes in from the back.
Right.
So I aggro him, and sure enough, I see the red dots on the map coming up from the back, and they're a group of Luxons. And I'm like, I'm working for the Luxons. Why is this happening? So I slaughter the Luxons and Lord Senkai, and then after I've killed a bunch of Luxons, a group of Kurzick soldiers show up, and they've got like the war general or whoever I was supposed to kill also. Everyone's hostile to me. There's no friendlies. I don't know. This quest makes no sense as far as like the groups of enemies that show up. I just kill everybody.
Wow.
I'm a mercenary. I don't care. If you're going to attack me, I'm just going to kill you. So yeah, I've allied myself with the Luxons. In the first quest I do, I kill a bunch of Luxons. So I don't know how helpful I've been. The Luxons lost more troops in this raid on this guild hall than anyone else.
But you said that the opening premise was that the Luxons and the Kurzicks were working together?
Yeah, so the opening premise is that this guild, the Guild of 1,000 Daggers, is a Canthan guild. So they're like from Kaining City.
Okay.
And they're kind of like the Jade Brotherhood, right? And they're like encroaching in the Luxon territory with the help of the Kurzicks. But then I show up there and all the enemies are Luxons. Like they're labeled Luxon Assassin. And
they're not like in an area that had been flipped of the map.
No, it's not like that. It's not the PvP like thing that's going on. Yeah. I don't think, because I looked at the quest on the wiki. Halcyon job. I don't know how to spell it. Anyway, I looked at the quest of the wiki while I was doing it, and it listed the quest enemies as the Luxon assassins. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with this quest, but I kill that guy, and I hand over control of the guild to Rion, which there's no like dialogue about that. The quest kind of just ends and you go turn it in. And then there is a follow-up to this quest called Protect the Halcyon. And it's from the same clan captain, Lexus. She says that the Halcyon ship is called a Leviathan. So this is like it's like a destroyer in the U.S. Navy, right? It's like a rank of ship, a classification. Yeah. She says it moves slowly and is, quote, a sitting target for aggressors. She wants us to defend it, and then says it is one of the Luxon's primary defenses against the Kurzicks, so they can't afford to lose it. Immediately I'm thinking, if this thing is such a slow-moving sitting duck, how is it one of your primary defense mechanisms? Like,
yeah, seriously.
I don't understand anything about these Leviathan ships the Luxons use or how they're useful in any way. Because they seem to be utterly defenseless. But you basically just go outside and defend as outcasts attack. I don't think we have run into outcasts yet.
No, I have not.
So outcasts are guys that have essentially they're Luxons who have been driven insane by like whatever weird Jade Wind magic is going on with the Jade Sea. And I think they're kind of like the Wardens in the Echo Forest. They're mysteriously hostile, right?
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to how I was talking about last episode about how there might be something going on with the elite mission, the Urgaz's Warren, and the Wardens. There might be something going on with the elite mission on the Luxon side, which is Kanaxai in the deep. He's just a demon that lives underground, and he might be corrupting these guys. I don't know. That might be why the outcasts are hostile. There was a collector I talked to that had like something to say about the magic that works on these guys. A collector named Duav Mirishahi, and he wants Oni talons because he believes the Oni are twisted by the Jade Sea in the same way that the Luxon outcasts are. And he thinks that the talons will help him understand the affliction that the outcasts have. So that's kind of what the Luxons think of what's going on with these outcast guys. They have a cool shield called an outcast shield that you can get as an item drop. It's like made out of skulls. It's kind of a rare drop, and it's kind of sought after by players because it looks cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Luxons in the previous quest of the Halcyon job, if they were supposed to have been outcasts then.
That would make way more sense.
Yeah.
Because the outcasts are just hostile to everyone, so that would at least make sense. I'm not sure what's going on with the Halcyon job quests. It gives 5,000 experience though, so it's supposed to be like kind of a big deal. The Protect the Halcyon quest, there's just like 8 waves of outcasts that attack the ship. They're pretty easy. It wasn't particularly interesting. You defend it and you turn it in, and that's the end.
Right.
So yeah, like immediately, not as interesting of things going on writing wise with the Luxon side as with the Kurzick side.
That's well, but still, I mean, I think that the I just wonder if they were mislabeled as, instead of outcasts, they just got mislabeled as Luxons since.
It's entirely entirely possible. So going back to when I kind of got to Cavalon and talked around to everybody, I noticed a few bizarre things. One, there is no necromancer henchman at all in the Jade Sea.
Yeah, you mentioned that in Discord.
Yeah.
When you were, that's really odd. Like, what is that about?
I don't know. I guess just none of the necromancer characters ended up tagging along, which is a bummer for me because Sue is one of my favorite henchmen because she's a minion master, and I do not like leaving home without one. Yeah. Were there any, on the Kurzick side, were there any like professions that you just didn't have access to on the henchmen?
No.
That's so weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, yeah, I got them all.
Yeah, there are, as far as I can tell, there are no necromancer henchmen available to the Luxon side of the story.
I had 3 available on this side. I had Eve, and then the 2 Wallows that follow Danica around. I could choose from either of them.
Now, for the sake of roleplay flavor, when you took Danica as your healer, did you also take the 2 Wallows?
I took only one of them.
Okay, I mean that's pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
The other one, you know, as long as she's got one of her Wallows, you're roleplaying.
Right.
You're roleplaying successfully.
Yeah.
There's a few interesting collectors. I think you ran into an interesting collector as well. The ones that I found, there's a guy in a Luxon area called Archipelago named Axton, and he says that kappas serve the sea spirit of Zuhanuku, and that wearing a kappa shell around your neck will attune you to the subtle vibrations of the Jade Sea, allowing you to sense danger before it gets to you.
That's way more, useful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Luxons love shit like this. Like, they love taking trophies that, like, do a magic thing to your equipment. It's great. And there's another collector... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's really quick, there's a collector named Madison. He's a male named Madison. In a place called Breaker Hollow, which is just, like, one of these outposts. And he says that Naga hides get infused with the magic of the Jade Sea over time, making them very effective for making armor. I fought a lot of Naga. There's a lot of Naga over here.
Yeah, I had a lot of fungal wallows.
Ran into some wallows. I don't remember if they were fungal wallows or rot wallows. Ran into a lot of them in, like... There are some green grassy areas of the Luxon area called Maisheng Hills and Mount Quinkai. And lots of wallows and island guardians there.
Yeah. No, I had I fought a lot of wardens, fungal wallows, wardens, obviously. I had blood drinkers out there, and dredge. I had the occasional stone scale Kieran that were hanging out with the wardens.
So a lot like just the enemies from Arborstone just like kind of dispersed throughout the areas.
Yeah, throughout the area, yeah. Mantises as well, which look like giant ants.
Yeah, similar, like bigger versions of the mantises from like Xingje Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the only, like, because we had, I ran into these outcast dudes, right, and like Kurzick and Luxon's soldiers, right? Other than that, salt spray dragons are something I ran into in the in the archipelago area, and then rockhide dragons, which are like giant turtles that are dragons. Both of these are elementalists, and they both hurt really bad.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So I lost a few people fighting a boss rockhide dragon somewhere in archipelago.
Yeah.
Tell me about another question.
Well, let me first tell you about, because I ran into so many fungal wallows that, of course, I found a collector who wanted you to give you drops from the fungal wallows.
Okay.
His name is Chef Armand, and he thinks that fungal wallows are really cute. And that even though he thinks that they're cute, he feels guilty when he has to split open their bellies to get at the wonderful truffles inside them.
I had a vivid image of Han Solo slicing open that tauntaun.
Yep, pretty
Empire
much.
Strikes Back.
Yep. And he says that they've got a voracious appetite, and so voracious that they leave little for humans to consume at the dining table.
Don't wallows drop truffles as like a trophy item?
They do.
Yeah. Did you get any?
And I did not. But what he tells you is that some people dislike the taste of semi-digested fungus, but true connoisseurs appreciate the bold tastes and strong aromas of fungal wallow truffles.
That's one of the most cursed possible ways.
Those. Yes, he is one of those people, so he wants 5.
Semi-digested fungus is one of the worst ways to describe what that is.
Yeah.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the most fun writing is in these weird collector, like, novelty blurbs.
Yeah.
They're great, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, if you're ever playing through factions, and I don't know if Nightfall even has collectors, but if they do, talk to the collectors.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got fun stuff to say. I think I went over all the collectors that I found, but yeah, just a lot of interesting like reasons on the Luxon side why they think certain creatures have like powerful body parts. I guess.
Yeah.
No truffles dropped on my side.
Well, I mean, you know, if you do get some, you can go and find Chef Armand. He's hanging out outside of Fort Aspenwood.
Maybe he will have a flat bow that will be appealing to me.
Maybe.
But I doubt it. Yeah. What? So you did just mountains of quests.
Yep. I did another chain. Oh, I actually found a dredge, because there are lots of dredge in the Kurzick areas. And you're like, why are the dredge out here? And so
those are the mole people that we talked about last episode.
Yes, those are the mole people that we didn't talk about really, because we didn't do Sorrow's what is it called out there? Furnace in Guild Wars 1?
Sorrow's Furnace in Guild Wars 1, Sorrow's Embrace Guild Wars 2.
Guild 2, yeah. So the dredge in Prophecy's side, they are hanging out in the Shiver Peaks, but they are down here in Cantha. And I was wondering, why are they down here? Well, you find a non-hostile NPC called Molino, and he tells you that his people fought a great underground war against the Stone Summit dwarves in the Shiver Peaks, far to the north. I think, is what he says. Far to the north, I think. But some of my clan decided to escape the only way we know how, by digging a tunnel to the other side of the world. So that is why the Dredge are now in Cantha.
So they were
escaping.
They literally dug a hole to China.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
For anybody wondering, that's like a saying that people used to say. Like if they found somebody digging around somewhere, they'd say, "Are you digging a hole to China?" Anyway,
Yeah.
just in case nobody understood that reference.
Right. Yeah. So here they are. Here are the Dredge. They've escaped from the dwarves, and they thought that they were safe. But now they're in the forest. That's strange to them. And there are these creatures that don't want them, that do not want to enslave us, but they want us dead, and they are the Kurzicks.
Yes, and I imagine all the wildlife is hostile as well.
Yes. So
that's a good bit of lore.
Yeah, and he says they're trying to kill us for encroaching on their territory. Please help us. He wants to try to convince Count Zuhelser to stop treating his people like animals and hunting them down. He wants basically a truce. So he's like, please, if you can, go and talk to him for me. So you go and you talk to Count Zuhelser, and he's like, what? These murderous, monstrous intruders want peace after striking our patrols? No. He's like, I'm telling you that my people acted in self-defense. So, no. You can tell them that, no, basically. They can go back to wherever, they can either survive if they want to here, or they can go back to wherever they came from. I was like, damn, okay. Count
Zuhelser taking a hardline stance on immigration.
100%. So you go back to Molyneux, and he's like, oh no, they refuse to hear reason. Well, I'll try to convince my people to avoid further conflict. But I'm only one Dredge. And, what can I do? I'll try to appeal to them for peace, but, I'll do what I can. And in the meantime, he's... Mm-hmm.
Based on Guild Wars 2, it doesn't work out.
No. Of course, the Dredge that we meet... Well, I don't know if we meet any in Cantha because I haven't played through End of Dragons completely. Or at all. But I know that the ones in Shiver Peaks are still pretty hostile.
I don't remember either, actually. I have played through End of Dragons and I don't remember. Stay tuned to find out in several years.
Yeah. So, he's hoping that in time he'll be able to convince the Kurzicks that they're not a threat. Which, it would be good if you didn't have hostile Dredge all around.
Is that the end of the quest?
No, that was the end of that quest. That started a chain. So when you turn in that quest to him, you get another one called Temple of the Dredge. And
is this an Indiana Jones installment?
He's all they have found an area where they think that they'll be safe, but it's overrun by wardens. And so he's like, please destroy the wardens before they destroy our dream of freedom. You're like, all right, fine, wardens, I can go and kill them. So
wait, just destroy the wardens wholesale, like all of them?
The ones that are hanging out in their area, in this little temple area, which is outside of, I want to say Ferndale again, or maybe Melandri's Hope. I can't even remember anymore.
The Kurzick areas definitely run together a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it was Ferndale, because I think he's in Ferndale. Anyways, but he just wants you to go and take out some wardens, and you basically take out one mob out of many mobs that are hanging out in this area, and then the quest updates. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Oh, so it's just one mob patrol out of the many.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Interesting.
Yeah. So you go back, and he's like, thanks, it's so nice to know that honorable humans exist in this place. And you're like, okay, sure, no problem. And then he has another quest for you immediately. And it's called Revolt of the Dredge. And he says, there's more trouble. There is a small group of his clan that are advocating all-out war against the Kurzicks. And the leader is a bold and angry Dredge named Maximol.
Maximol, M-O-L-E, like a pun?
Yes, Maximol.
All right. The maximum mole. Let's go.
Yeah, he is the maximum mole. Yeah, he is their leader. And he lost his family during their long escape, and he believes that he wants to simply die in battle. But he wishes to drag down all of their people with him. So he says that the only way out is to take Maximol out.
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah. So you have to go out, and there is right outside of like the Fort Aspenwood outpost. There is like this plain, this like leveled plain, field of desolate, just nothingness except lots of dredge.
Yeah, I know the exact place you're talking about because there's a very memorable boss here.
Yes, and I did run into, I think, this memorable boss on the way out to Maximal. I ran into a monk boss called Mungry Magic Box. And that is the best boss name I've encountered in all of Factions thus far.
Yeah, we were talking about, because I've killed Mungry many. He's a Zacian bounty sometimes. And I've just, like, if you're doing the Kurzick side of the storyline, which I did almost every time I'd play Factions, you just run into Mungry. So he's just a guy I remember. And that dredge field is really annoying. So I always remember Mungry, and we were talking about before the show how there's not a lot of good boss names in Factions.
Factions, yeah.
Well, because a lot of the enemies you fight up until this point, where the story splits, are just humans, and they're almost all Jade Brotherhood or Ampha, and they have really boring names like Chung the Attuned, right? So it's good that we're getting back into the Mungry magic boxes of the world. I had some wild ones I didn't write any of them down, but in Archipelagos alone, there's a dude named let me find him here. Razor Tongue Froth Spit, which is great. He's a creeping carp. So he's a fish man, and I guess he has very frothy spit. But so we're getting back into the territory of like some decent boss names. Were you able to kill Maximal?
I was able. Maximal he came over because I found Mungry first, and so I was trying to take him down, but he's a monk. And he had monk friends with him, so it was taking a while. And while I was trying to take out the little mob, Maximal decided that he was going to come over and play. And he ended up dying before I even killed Mungry. So I was like, all right, cool. You just fell to collateral AoE damage. Thanks.
He didn't, like, he wanted to die in battle, and he didn't even, like, have a good diet in battle. He just, like, ran in and immediately ate the edge of a fireball.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty
much.
Like,
did not die in honorable single combat. Just kind of got hit by siege artillery from Sin.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Is that, do you turn that quest in, and is there another one, or is that the end of the...
That was the end of the Dredge quest chain.
So essentially nothing was achieved.
No, I mean, he just says, I know it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Yeah. I think we may have a future here after all. And he just says thanks.
And then you leave them kind of the same place they started, in, like, vague hostility to the Kurzaks.
Yeah. So, maybe they'll find a way to live together in harmony, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem that way. I don't remember where the Dredge are at in the area as of Guild Wars 2. A lot of stuff has happened since when we get there in Guild Wars 2. I think the Kurzaks are still hanging around, but there's other stuff going on with when that happens. Right. I did a Kurzik-related quest called, and this is a very creative quest name, Attack the Kurzaks, with a... exclamation mark at the end.
Right.
This is from Captain Juno in Cavalon, who is the captain of the Turtle Clan. So this is Argo's boss, basically.
Right.
And she says, when the Kurzaks have, quote, taken a break from writing horrible ballads and tree hugging, they're going to attack one of our outposts called Guyala Hatchery, and we gotta go defend it. I thought the quest might be interesting because, like, the intro dialogue seemed to be fun, but you just go kill some Kurzaks. You go way out to where this outpost is, Guyala Hatchery, and I was dumb and didn't take the primary quest to actually go into the hatchery, so I'm going to have to walk this route all over again.
Oh, man.
when I do the primary quest next episode. Yeah. But one of the things that was interesting about this quest is the final wave that attacks Guyala Hatchery is led by General Kamer Vasberg.
Oh, okay.
So Aaron II killed a Vasberg.
There you go.
Yep, and this quest is annoying, actually, because they attack from two sides, but they are staggered in the way they attack.
Okay.
So you have to... One group will come at the gate, but they'll stop a little ways off from the gate. And no more groups will spawn. You have to go out. You have to leave the gate undefended to kill this group. And only when you do that will the next group come from the other direction, and they'll attack the gate directly.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting because it was a little more mechanically complex than just sit at the gate and handle all comers, right?
Yeah.
You're very encouraged to like party up with someone for this quest. Otherwise, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
They killed most of the shrine guards.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So that was cool. I ran into some Kurzick juggernauts. Have you ran into these yet?
I have not. No.
They're big like plant terminators.
Oh yeah. The first when I had to go and get access to House to Helzer from Jamie's quest, I had to go and talk to a guardsman, and he was a juggernaut. Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking.
They are.
They look kind of like the droid fighters from fighter ships from the Star Wars prequel trilogy. But yeah, they're pretty badass looking. And I killed a couple of them. They weren't that hard. I personally think siege turtles are cooler, but
yeah, the guardsman he told me that they used to be human, but they sacrificed their flesh to become an immortal defender of the forest.
Yeah,
so they're kind of like the what are the ones in prophecies?
The druids. The
druids, yes.
Yeah, they do the druid thing basically.
Yeah,
that's very cool, and it's like a big deal to do this because you're sacrificing like your humanity. You're sacrificing like who you are, your identity as a person to become a plant terminator.
Right.
And
because they're really large as well.
Yeah, they're quite big. They're probably like relative to the human sizes. They're probably like 12 or 15 feet tall. So yeah, I killed a couple of those, and I successfully defended the thing, and then I just turned in the quest. That's how a lot of the Luxon quests are: is you go kill something and then you just turn it in and it's over.
Yeah.
Not a ton of quest chains. I think the only quest that chained was the Halcyon job.
Yeah, the only quest that I had to fight Luxons was I think it's called Song and Stone, and you get that from Count Suhelzer. And you basically just have to go around and defend the stone singers around the cathedral who are trying to restore the stone of the cathedral.
Oh, okay. Like an Arborstone Cathedral?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After we just completely ripped it a new one in the last episode.
Yeah, so they're trying to complete ritual songs that will heal the cathedral stone.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is an interesting it's an interesting concept. So you go around and you have to defend 8 groups of stone singers. Some are solo, some are paired up with like 1 or 2 others. And so long as 5 are alive by the time you make your round, you succeed.
That reminds me a lot of the next mission you're going to be doing, Eternal Grove.
Yes.
I think you got to defend stone singers in that one too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That one may be one that's a notorious mission for being very hard. I don't know how hard it is in normal mode, but you may have to recruit an ally to do that one.
I think I had to in my first playthrough when I was a newbie and before I had heroes.
That's the main reason why you may need to, because without heroes, like, you can't split your henchman party.
Yeah.
Right? And splitting the party is a big part of that mission. So just a heads up, you may need to recruit a friend.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll see how the next mission goes for me, but I'll probably die horribly. I did a quest called Night Raiders. This was probably the favorite of the quests I did.
Okay.
Basically, the Tortoise Clan is... I don't remember who gave this to me. I think it might have been from Elder Rhea. But the Tortoise Clan, otherwise known as the Turtle Clan, it's referred to interchangeably this way, is trying to excavate a, quote, behemoth of the sea. So like a sea monster that's like encased in jade under the sea, right? They're trying to chisel it out because this Canthan noble named Tawaj Zing wants to buy it as like decorative art fixture.
Okay. Of course.
Yeah, and they keep getting like raided in the night, and their quarry people are getting killed. And the quarry master is really fed up with it, so I got to go figure out what's going on. This quest takes place in Archipelago, the area outside of Cavalon. And you kind of just go hang out with him. The Jade Sea is a cool region, guys. It's probably one of my favorites. It's just
it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's visually very cool. It's very brightly colored in contrast to the Ekavald Forest.
Yeah.
And just like the petrified sea looks very cool. And I like the funky, like, under the sea Little Mermaid sea creatures that you get to fight, which we experienced a little bit in Boreas Seabed last episode. So the quarry master's name is Reaver Tamux, and I think Reaver is like a rank in the Luxon hierarchy. I don't think his name is Reaver, but maybe his name is, I don't know. He's like the foreman there, and he says that it's actually been the Naga that have been attacking them. And this is the beginning of my descent into madness, fighting Naga group after Naga group after Naga group throughout my questing this episode. And we need to go kill the Naga leader and bring its head to the Canthan noble who wants to buy it, this Tawaj Singh guy, to prove that they've kind of like got their shit together, right? Because he's getting he's getting annoyed at how long it's taking to get this sea monster excavated.
That's very very John the Baptist.
Yeah, well, we do this quest and I kill this guy and you get his head as a quest item, not unlike that quest we did in Prophecies where we got the heart of that centaur like in our inventory.
Yes.
Except ArenaNet has demonstrably improved their inventory icon modeling abilities, because it's not just an unnatural seed that's labeled as a heart. It's the head of a Naga in my inventory. Like the little icon is a severed head.
Oh my gosh. Wow, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I take that over to the Maisheng Hills where Tawaj Singh is. And do you think this man's a very nice guy?
No.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
So I give him the head and he says, well, I guess the Luxons really do know what they're doing. And then he says, quote, "You never can tell with provincials." He's racist.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he refers to the Luxons as provincials.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's super racist. He basically doesn't believe that non-Canthan labor is like, I don't know,
non-Canthan and non-Canthan wealth.
Yeah, he's like a nationalist. He's like a Empire of the Dragon nationalist. He sucks.
Yeah, he sucks.
And then, so after I've turned the quest in, I can talk to him again, and he's got like background information on him, and he's basically a drop shipper. Like, he makes his money importing anything cheap that he can find.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah,
right.
he basically buys low from abroad and sells high locally, and that's how he makes his money. And he's like, yeah, I'm a self-made man. I didn't do any of the actual labor, but I paid for everything.
Sure. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. He says a large portion of his money was made importing weapons from Henge of Denravi. So that was weird. I didn't know Henge of Denravi.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that was like a weapon making hub, but sure.
I mean, considering that, because wasn't it like a druid thing? Like it was a druid hub,
it
right?
Was the like place where the druids ascended to druiddom.
Right.
It was like
and
a
then
hidden.
Afterwards.
Yeah, because it was hidden. You couldn't like go there. You had to like be a druid to be able to access the portal to go there.
But after we like take it over and made it our outpost, then the White Mantle came in.
They did, yeah, and then we destroyed the White Mantle. And I don't know how much time has passed in between Prophecies and Factions. Maybe a couple years.
But maybe in the meantime, before we took him out, like this guy was getting his weapons from the White Mantle.
Yeah, maybe he had like a shipping arrangement with the White Mantle. I don't know. This guy's the type of guy.
That sounds like something that it would be. Yeah, it sounds like he's something that they would do.
He's the type. Yeah, they're both like, hey, we're isolationist nationalists. How about you? Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. All right, great. Let's team up. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a quest where I helped out an awful person.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
We are like an hour and 50 minutes into the show. Okay. Tell me what else you did. Pick a...
I will tell you about one quest that was very long.
Okay,
And it
let's
had me
go.
hopping all over the Echovold forest, and it is called the Beak of Darkness.
Okay, is
And
this
the
MOA related?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah. Is this the Black MOA quest?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah, let's go.
So it is. The premise here is that a Zuhelzer called Rutger was attacked by a Black Moa, and he suffered a nasty head wound. He fell into a coma. He doesn't remember anything of the attack, but he wants you to track down this motherfucker bird, basically, and take it out. But he doesn't know where it is. So he sends you off to go and find his squad mate, basically, because he thinks that the squad mate will know where it is. And so you go to this next guy, and the next guy is Johann Zuhelzer. And he's like, yeah, I know about the Black Moa. It's evil. But I'm not really sure where it is. I don't know where it lives, so you're going to have to go to Melandru's Hope and talk to Eric Lutgardis, because he was with us, and he will definitely know.
So you're talking... and each of these Kurzick houses has, like, an outpost, right? Like, the Lutgardises have the Lutgardis Conservatory.
Conservatory, yes.
The Vasbergs have the Vasberg Armory. Stuff like that.
Yes. I have not unlocked Vasberg Armory, but I did unlock the Lutgardis Conservatory while I was running around. So Eric Lutgardis, you find him out in Melandru's Hope. When you first interact with him, he thinks that you're a squawking bird, because apparently he's got some PTSD. And he's like, yeah, no, I remember that quite vividly, just as if it was yesterday. And poor Rutger, he had that bird squawk in his ear, and he just fainted right there.
Wow.
It took 4 of us to get the bird off of him. And in the meantime...
So Rutger sucks.
Rutger sucks. The bird, like, thrashed him after he passed out. And he's like, I don't exactly remember where we encountered him, but you should go find Conrad. Conrad Vasberg. He definitely knows. And because he's got a mind like a steel trap. But he's out in Ferndale.
It's one of these, like, Vasberg. I know a guy who knows a guy. And then you go to that guy, and he's like, oh yeah, my cousin knows a guy.
Yeah, so Conrad Vasberg, you find him, he's hanging out. I had actually met him while I was running around, and I was like, what is this guy just doing? I interacted with him, he had nothing to say, because I had not progressed the quest far enough.
Right.
Conrad says, who could forget that foul, so pun. It had blood gushing from its beak like a waterfall. It was squawking and screaming. It was gory, and it was terrible, and I don't know where it is. But I have lots of scars. Do you want to see them?
So you're looking for Bigfoot, basically.
Basically. Bigfoot.
Did you take him up on seeing the scars?
No, you don't have a choice to.
Unfortunate,
yeah. But he thinks that the person who will really know is where the Black Moa is Ruprecht Brouwer. And the Browers have their own outpost, which is, what is it, the House of Brouwer? No, it's not House of Brouwer. What is it called?
I don't remember what the Brouwer one is.
Oh, lordy, where is it? Brouwer Academy.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, Brouwer Academy, I did unlock that one. I picked up a couple of quests that I later abandoned because I was like, I'm tired.
So not only did you do like twice the quests I did, but there were like more you could have done.
Yeah, there was like I abandoned probably about another 5. And you'll see in my footage that I'm just like when I get into Brouwer Academy, I'm like abandon. I was like, I can't. I've done enough.
Were the Luxons like an afterthought? Like, there's so few quests on the Luxon side in comparison.
It's really, really weird. But when you find Ruprecht Brouwer, and I forget where he's out in Drazach Thicket. Yes, and so he's like, oh yeah, I know where that bird is. It's got a complex. I've been studying it. It's got a complex migration pattern. Its nesting place is in a large clearing to the north of Ferndale. Guess where that large clearing to the north of Ferndale is?
It's where Mungry Magic Box is.
Yes, it's where the Dredge are.
Yeah, and they're all respawned and fresh now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mungry didn't show up again, thank goodness. But you go over and you see, I was trying to get the dredge mobs that were in front of it or near it out of the way.
Yeah, I think Mungry Magic Box has a really large patrol circle, so you're not always going to see him at any given time.
Mm-hmm. So, the black moa was green. It was not hostile. And I was like, can I attack this thing? Can I make it go hostile? I couldn't. And I was like, am I going to have to, like, zone out and do this part of the quest all over again? But eventually, as I was standing next to it, it finally went hostile. And I could kill it. And that was the end of the quest. Rutger was very happy. He says, my head feels better already, knowing that the bird is dead.
And as far as I'm aware, this is the only way to get a black moa pet if you're a ranger.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of figured. So, yeah, actually, I think I ended up getting a black moa pet. Was it in the underworld?
So you're probably thinking of the mini black moa chick.
Oh, yes, that's what it was. Yep.
It's not even a quest, because it's not like a quest in your log. It's just like a set of tasks that you do to get a black moa chick mini pet.
I remember that you helped me get that.
Yeah, and it ends, you gotta, like, get the thing superheated in Sarah's furnace. It's crazy. It's a wild, set of objectives that you have to complete. Yeah. But I think it starts with doing this. You have to do this quest to even be able to do the black moa chick stuff.
Yeah. Well, so I must have done this before, but I obviously didn't remember it.
If you've got a ranger, you've probably done this before. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, that was the Black Moa quest. And it was not a chain, but it sure did feel like one. Because you were going all over the place.
Yeah, you gotta go to a many-faceted quest.
It is. It is a multi-map hopping quest. Because you can't even, like, just hop and, like, find the guy just standing right there. You have to actually go and locate him, like, deep in the wilds.
Like, hack your way through group after group. There's a lot of, like, I haven't talked a lot about just a lot of the meandering that I did this episode to do that stupid mapping quest.
Yeah.
Which is not an interesting quest. Like, I wouldn't recommend this quest to anyone. Because it's just go here. There's not any interesting blurbs about anything. You don't get any information about the spots you're going. The spots seem random for the most part.
Yeah.
They're not even, like, specifically cool points of interest. It's just not a very engaging quest, and it's very tedious, and it takes you way out of your way.
If anything, it just helps you unlock and get you faction. So if you were to do, like, nothing but that mapping quest and probably killing stuff along the way with the blessing, you probably would meet the 10k faction requirement.
Oh, probably, yeah. Killing stuff with the blessing gets you so much faction. The last two quests I did were both they both have pop culture references in them.
Okay.
I did a quest called More Cowbell, which
of course
you can probably imagine what that's a reference to. For anyone who's not in the know, there's a famous SNL sketch where they play a cowbell.
More cowbell, please.
Yeah, so the quest is that this guy from Cantha bought a magic cowbell from, like, a snake oil salesman that supposedly wards off the plague. And he dropped it in a bed of blue oysters. I'm sure you can see where this is going. And I gotta go find it. So I go to this bed of blue oysters, and there's just a bunch of blue oysters, and you click on them to search them. And the cowbell will eventually fall out of one of them. I bring it back to this guy. His name is Eurus. And he basically says he's like, thank you, this cowbell is amazing. It's the best cowbell anyone's ever made. And then he says, it is often said among my people that a great reaver guides us all to the next life. And then he goes, with this cowbell, I will show them that we have no need to fear the reaver. Which is a reference to the Blue Oyster Cult song, Don't Fear the Reaper. I don't hate these references, but I am fatigued after after experiencing them.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But it's kind of funny. And then I did a quest called Return of the Yeti, which is obviously a play on Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
And you just go kill a Yeti. You talk to the mayor of this village in Mount Quinkai, and he's like, they're Yetis. And apparently when they raided the village, they made off with the village's golden lantern, which isn't magical. He specifically states this. He's like, it's not a magic lantern. It's just like a symbol of morale for the village. Right. And so I gotta go kill Arash Mountain Club, the Yeti Lord, and bring it back. And it's not very hard. And that's all the quests that I did. No, so like very lacking quests on the Luxon side in comparison to the Kurzick side.
Yeah, I mean, I did another interesting one that I did was it was along the way while I was doing the stone singing, protect the stone singers. It was called Wardens on the March, and really the only thing that was really interesting on this, because you just have to kill wardens, is that you get as allies the Zuhelzer Guardians, which are really cool looking. They look like, well, they kind of look like the they've got these cool armor. It actually reminded me of like the Shirokin, kind of like the armor that the constructs wore.
Oh, they're the stone rains from Arbor Stone.
Yeah, but they're not enemies.
Yeah,
and
they're not
got
evil.
Wings. They're really cool looking.
Yeah, you fight some of the hostile versions of the stone rains in Arbor Stone. And yeah, they look. I swear to God, they're the same model. Like probably. Base model as the Undead Lich at the end of Prophecies.
Yeah,
the way they walk around and stuff. Yeah, they're very
they
cool.
were really cool. Yeah, they were very cool. And I got so distracted that I aggroed like several patrols of them because I was like, who is this fighting alongside me? I hadn't even realized that the quest had triggered while I was trying to find the singers. So that was a cool one. Just because the allies were cool looking. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. Kill wardens. And then I did one other one called Artistic Endeavors, where you've got to go and kill a sly dredge that stole art supplies from a painter.
Specifically, a sly dredge.
Yes, a sly dredge. And when you go out and find him, he's labeled as sly dredge.
I love everything about that.
I know, and so when he drops the art supplies, they're just called June's art supplies, or June's stolen art supplies.
I'd like to think he wrote that on him with like a crayon.
I know, right? And so she says that they were a really expensive gift from her Kurzick master who trained her in the arts, so she really wants them back. But when you turn them in, she says, tell Kisai that I said hello and remind my sister that I believe in her even if she doesn't. So I'm guessing that this is Kisai's sister.
Remind me who Kisai is.
Kisai is, I think she's the elementalist henchman in Xingje Monastery.
All the way back in Xingje. Okay,
All the way back, yes.
I think I did take her a couple times early game.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, since you said that the monastery initiates are now the henchmen on the Luxon side, if you had run across her.
I don't have a one. Will it show me the henchmen available? Because I take Kai Ying. I always take Kai Ying, and then Argo is the other, and I take both of them. There are no other elementalist henchmen available, and I'm not seeing Kisai. So I think she wasn't deemed good enough to come along with the expedition. She's like at the bottom of the class.
Yeah. She must still be she's hanging out on Xingje then.
She must be working on that practical application exam like Yijo Tan was.
Yeah. Yeah. So it does show, the wiki says that she's available, or she's present in Divine Path in Kaining City.
Which is after you beat the game, Divine Path is like the post end game area, like that. Like that.
Yeah, so she'll probably like show up to like give a little shout out to, I remember when we were young and stupid.
Yeah, remember when we were helping Yijo Tan with his exams?
Yeah.
Pouring out for my boy. Yeah. So, and then I think she might be one of the people you talk to in Wajin Bazaar when you're going around like talking to Togo's homies.
Togo students, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Kisai, no room for her in the plot, apparently.
No, apparently not, but we do run into her sister.
Yes. Who's apparently quite the artist.
Apparently. Yeah.
Did any of your other quests stand out to you?
No.
just kind of like busy work stuff.
I had to like there. So there are repeatable quests out in the Kurzick areas. Are there any repeatable quests?
Yeah,
like you can do them multiple times.
Yeah.
It's like Guild Wars. Think Guild Wars 2 dynamic events, or
they're there if you want to.
The repeatable hearts in like season, was it 3 or 4 of Guild Wars 2?
So God, don't remind me of repeatable
I know,
hearts
but
in
this
season 3.
this is where they got the idea, and I was like, I don't want to do this quest again.
They're there if you want to do a mindless repeatable task to farm faction. They used to a method of faction farming called fast faction farming used to be like 1 person and 4 heroes would solo this while 4 people leeched and paid the perfect person doing the quest per run. It was a good way to make money. I actually spent money on this to get my Kurzick cut title to a certain level. And I just had a Windows notification interrupt our show, so that's going to be a great little sound blurb murdering our listeners' ears. I do apologize. But yeah, that's what those are for. I did do one of them. I just ran a supply crate to like some Luxon soldiers. It was not interesting.
Yeah, I did it. I did the Kurzick supply line one. And then the supply master had it again, and I was like, I'm not doing this for you again. Sorry.
Yeah. That one especially, I believe that's the one outside Lutgardus Conservatory in Melandru's Hope. And that was the one that people would run repeatedly for faction farming. Not a great fun time. You kind of just sit there. But yeah.
And I did a duel of the houses, the duel master, which is another repeatable one. A bunch of Vasbergs and other people from the Kurzick houses.
Is this like one on
repeatable ones?
One-on-one?
No, it's just basically you go and rumble with the Kurzick houses to see. It's a method of training for battle against the Luxons, is what the duel master Vaughn tells you.
I did find a dueling arena in Archipelago. It's right outside Cavalon, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I want to engage.
Yeah, well, this doesn't even he runs off. You have to follow him. He runs past patrols of wardens. He doesn't help you fight the wardens. He just goes over to where his AI tells him he needs to go, and it's not even an arena. It's at the side of the building, and they're just like, let's do this now.
Yeah, after the convocation with the Luxons, I was like, I think I get it.
Yeah.
So I did not, because there's this quarried out fight arena, and there's crowds that are labeled arena spectator or whatever, and there's a guy next to a gate that's labeled arena master whatever, and I was just like, I don't think I need to. Probably a similar concept, like a faction farming.
Yeah, I would say so, because it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Even so long as you know what you're doing, it doesn't really matter. You just go in with a bunch of AoE skills or heroes or henchmen that have good builds, or even henchmen builds, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So that was our experiences more or less with the kind of the side content in the Kurzick and Luxon areas. Kind of some of the more flavorful content now that we're out of the kind of beige brownness of Kaining City. But I gotta say, I enjoyed the quests in Kaining City a lot more than the quests in the Luxon area. The Kurzick quests sounds like they were a little more interesting.
They were, yeah.
But I think my favorite questing area so far was when we initially got to Kaining, and all those quests in Wajin Bazaar, and not so much Buckdeck Byway, but I had a good time in Wajin Bazaar. I think those are my favorite quests so far.
So did Elder Rhea have anything interesting to say once you turned in and proved that you were worthy of being a friend of the Luxons?
Not really, no. I turned it in, and when I took the quest, she actually made the comment that some people even sell faction for gold.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if that was a reference to players who do the faction farming thing or not.
Right, yeah. Because Count Zuhalzer said the same thing.
I wonder if there's an NPC you can buy faction for. I've never done that, if that's a thing you can do. I'm not sure. She could be referring to the priests that give the buff at the red shrines.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was for the priests.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a. It's funny you should ask that because I have a bullet point that says Rhea does not really have any interesting reward dialogue.
Yeah, no, Count Zuhalser is nothing either. He's like, you've proven yourself a true friend. You're welcome in our lands, and you can count us as allies in your fight against Shiro. And I'm like, great.
Nobody really comments on the destruction of the artifacts.
No.
Like, you'd think that would be a huge deal. Because we were like, hey, can we borrow these? We'll totally bring them back.
Yeah, well, Count Zuhalser was like, so I guess that Togo's plan didn't go all that well then, huh? And I was like, well, okay. Is that all you have to say? We just destroyed your artifact. Like, you were really upset, and we're telling Menlo not to, like, lose it.
Yeah, we had to, like, risk our lives to get you to give us this, and we definitely did not bring it back. Yeah, I didn't see anything Rhea had to say about it, but I might have just missed it. Mm-hmm. So that leaves us with the next primary quest, which we will be tackling next episode. This is now our record for longest episode. This is a bit over 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of inevitable.
Yeah, because we had to, we did completely different sets of content, so this was going to be a long one. I always knew it was going to be. Yeah. We probably should have rolled Sunjiang District into last episode, but we didn't do that, so it doesn't matter.
It's okay. Live and learn.
Yes, live and learn. We had a good time exploring the Kurzick and Luxon content of the game. We'll be doing a little bit more of it next episode because the next mission is Kurzick and Luxon affiliated. And then we're trucking on towards the end of the game, honestly. We're getting pretty close to the conclusion of Factions. We started Factions on episode 18, and it is now episode 24, so we're 6 episodes in, and we're already getting towards the end of the game. So, Factions, very differently paced than Prophecies.
For sure.
I think in episode 6 of last game, we were still like level 10.
Probably, yeah.
So, we will see everybody next episode in about 2 weeks' time. And we'll be handling the Gael Hatchery and the Eternal Grove missions, and probably making our way towards Unwaking Waters. Until then, Miko, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me at Inky Sticks on your social media platform of choice.
Awesome. And just a reminder, we are on Blue Sky now, so you can follow at Tyria Now on Blue Sky as well as on Twitter. Tyria Now on YouTube, and Tyria Now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so that you can get this piped into your ears in your favorite method. I am not on social media, but I just want you to follow the Tyria Now. And until then, guys, we will see everybody later.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.